there was two questions around the mantras. One, is it important to chant along with them? Yes, the whole point is to chant. You can play mantras in your house and fill your house with that energy, and that's a positive thing to do. But as the practice, it's about activating your gut, your larynx, your voice, your vagus nerve. The point is to vibrate them, to chant them. Okay. And the other question was, is it important to know and understand what mantras mean? Now, I'm about to tell you all what those particular mantras mean. However, generally, no. I go to kirtan in different places in the world, and I often have no idea what they actually mean. Now, there's a beauty and a power in knowing what they mean, because you can bring that level of intentionality. But generally, I just bring the intention no matter what that mantra is, because you can trust that any mantra that has been populated for thousands of years and is continuing to be shared is ultimately about connecting to the divine and connecting to your higher self and clearing the path. Like most mantras, that they have there's a general reason why. And it's about connection. It's about tuning yourself to higher forces. It's about clearing your karma. It's about opening your heart to love and to joy, to gratitude. And so when you bring, or whatever your general intention is right now, like if your intention is to connect to your higher self, to know who you are, to feel connected, to feel whole, any mantra you chant, you can bring that intention into it. And that's it's like, the point is to open your heart and to affirm. What are you affirming? And you can really use that with any mantras that are in another language. Okay, so you can go to a kirtan or some type, if you end up in mantras, and don't worry about whether you know what it means. Just trust that it's activating these higher forces inside of you. It's connecting you to the source of life, to your pure self. It's purifying you. You can just focus on gratitude, because most of the mantras are basically like these, they're like praising life. It's really, and simply, you could say it's a way of saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You could just say thank you, thank you, thank you as a mantra over and over and over again. In fact, never underestimate the power of the mantra, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. But with that said, I'm going to share with you about what those mantras mean that I gave you. I gave you two. Ekankar Satnam Siddhi Waheguru, as well as Ekankar Sat Guru Prasad. And they both, you could say they both mean the same thing at their core, which is the creator and the creation are one. The creator and the creation are one. Or you could expand it and say, the creator and the creation are one. This is our true identity. You're affirming your higher self. You're affirming your connection to the source of life, that you are made in the image and likeness of God, which means that you are both being guided and you're creating, that you're not alone, that you're never separate from, that you are given all the blessings and all the goodness and all the light of the creator. The creator and the created are one. That's what they both mean. For Ekankar Satnam Siddhi Waheguru, another translation of it is, there is one God whose name is truth, highest, wondrous one who brings light. And also specifically, and again, Sanskrit or Guru Mukti, when you specifically translate it into English, there's going to be different translations because it's not actually directly translated to English. Sanskrit is much more of a poetic, symbolic language. So we kind of diminish some of the potency. That's why it doesn't really matter for you to know what you're saying, because sometimes the English, it's like a frequency. You can start to feel the vibration. But if you actually broke down, one translation of the specific words is ek means one, and ek, and you guys, I won't get into so much of it, but mantras are so intentional. Like this particular mantra, each sound associated with each chakra. So ek means one, it's your first chakra, your base. Ong means the creative force of the universe. It's your second chakra, your sex organs. Kar is the creator. It's your third, it's the navel, your solar plexus. Sat means truth, and it's your heart. Nam is the fifth chakra, is your voice, and it means the name or word. Siddhi means great, and that's your sixth chakra, your third eye. Wa, which is your seventh chakra, your crown, it means wonderful, beyond comprehension. Like you're just like, there's so much blessings and goodness beyond my comprehension, and you're wanting to connect to that beyond this small reality you've created into the wondrous, just beyond comprehension goodness. That's your seventh chakra. And then guru is basically that means the energy of moving from darkness to light. So you're moving yourself out of karma and out of trauma into the light. And that's the eighth chakra, which corresponds to the electromagnetic field that surrounds your body. Just what I could go so deep in all of them of how they're so intentional, but you're basically working with all of the energy centers, purifying them and bringing them into alignment. Okay. So those are the meanings of those actual mantras that I gave to you all. And I'm going to share a few more things, but also, and I may have said this on the last call that I was going to put this together. So I apologize. I apologize if I did say I was going to send this to you and didn't, but I've been basically collecting and writing about Nam, about mantras, about Ekankar. And I am going to get you guys a document for you to read, for you to kind of internalize more. Dawn, I was getting comfortable with the previous mantras included in the previous morning routine I was during the earliest year. These much different. Is it okay to use previous ones? Yeah, you're welcome to use what you feel drawn to. All mantras, the specific mantras all have different purposes, and yet a mantra non-practice also has a shared intention and purpose. I don't remember what mantras we did and I gave you or we did in the frequency practice, but I would suggest doing at least one of the Ekankars, adding in one of the Ekankars, because it's one of the most powerful mantras. And so I think we were doing Om and whatever we were doing, do that, but then because I gave you guys 3 different mantras, and I'm actually going to give you 2 more versions, one more version of Ekankar Sat Guru Prasad, and one more version of Ekankar Sat Nam Siddhi Waheguru, so that you can choose which ones resonate the most. Now, there's really beautiful versions of these mantras on Spotify from women that in some ways I find more beautiful. And sometimes I will do those. However, the ones from Dr. Levry are very, very intentional because they are based in breaths per minute. They are based in the Kabbalah. So they're very precise. So I'm just going to share with you one thing about Nam and about the tracks that Dr. Levry is creating. Okay. So each of these tracks that I've given you reduces your breath rate to 3 or less breaths per minute. And just to put this in perspective, on average, a normal person breathes at a rate of 10 to 14 breaths per minute. Okay. The vagus nerve, which gets activated when you breathe and when you sing, and it connects from brain through your heart down into your root, to your sex organs. It's responsible, the vagus nerve is responsible for replenishing our energy and our immune resources after a stressful event. And we have stressful events often in our life. Okay. And so that gets activated when the breath is reduced to 7 to 5 breaths per minute, which is about half the average if you're just breathing in your day-to-day life. And so when you are singing these tracks, you're reducing your breath rate significantly. And there's a lot of research coming out on this, and I can even share an article with you guys. It shows that it helps induce the relaxation response, which is significant for changing your heart, your brain, your gene expression. It changes the brain connectivity. It changes your performance. And when you activate the vagus nerve in this way, it has long-lasting impact on the endocrine and immune system. Okay. Cora, you were saying you're having health stuff. Heather, you've been having health stuff. This is a really valuable way to take care of your health. And our lifespan, the number of years that we live, is shortened when the number of breaths per minute increases. So the faster we're breathing, the shorter our life will be. When you get sick, your breath rate increases. So reducing your breath rate, which the chanting of the mantras does, is one of the most effective ways to not only make you healthier, but also to relieve mental, emotional, or physical pain. Okay, I remember I said on the last call that our mind will follow our breath. So it's a really nice reset. And, believe it or not, but it's something that really resonates with me, is that by mastering our breath, we gain the power to increase our lifespan. And that a person who can slow down their breathing rate more consistently is actually increasing their lifespan. And one of the things that we're here to cultivate is the ability to stay calm and composed, to be at peace even when we're amidst big creation or stress, right? Because that's what's going to expand your capacity to have bigger life. If you want to have a bigger life, you want to be able to create more, then the practice is being able to stay calm and composed and centered and joyful, even as things expand and grow and you're saying yes to more. If you want to be able to expand your life, it's about expanding your capacity. And so much of that is a nervous system conversation. And our nervous system is basically like the battery of the human body. And when our nervous system is weak and the battery stops working properly, our immune system is impacted, we're more easily sick, our energy is impacted, everything is impacted. And so through deep rhythmic breathing, we are actually nourishing our nervous system and we are making ourselves more magnetic. Okay. And magnetism is what attracts things to us that makes us successful. And it's also, this helps just disconnect us from negative influences, physical or mental, so we can have a fuller, bigger life and a life that's led by more grace, more auspiciousness. Okay, these mantras connect you to divine grace. And because our time, I'll wrap that. I'm just going to keep giving you bits, right? Last week was a lot about how it actually is activating our intuition and our navel. And by working with our voice, we're working with our navel and our ability to have intuitive insights and know what direction to go. So I'm just adding another piece, and I'm going to prepare this writing for you guys to read more about, so you can feel more connected to why you would take the time to do the mantras. And just briefly, I am, like I said, going to add 2 more to the folder so that you'll have 2 different versions of the Satguru Prasad, so you can feel which one resonates with you. And then you're going to have 2 different versions of the Ekankar Satnam Siddhi Waheguru from the album that's called The Seal of Higher Destiny. I added the one that's a bit easier. Now I'm going to add the one that I'm doing that's a bit harder in terms of you have to have a longer breath capacity. But when you can really get into it, it puts you into a trance-like state. And that's very powerful to then meditate, just silently meditate after. Okay. And one thing that I'm doing, because my life has been more social in the evenings, I've been having, and it doesn't get dark till 9:30, it's like longer days. So I'm waking up later generally. What I've implemented is I'm setting an alarm, I'm waking up early to do the mantras and meditation, and I'm going back to sleep for a couple hours after. The reason for that is if I try to do this practice when the light is out, and it's already almost coming to work, like it's very hard for me to be focused and dropped in if I'm doing this later in the morning. It just is. It takes way more willpower. It feels a little bit more forced. I have to really get myself to focus. Whereas when I do it when it's still dark, before the sun comes up, for me, it's exponentially more enjoyable and easeful and natural. And I'll wait till another class to tell you why it's also more powerful to do it at that time. But for now, I'm going to say it's actually easier. It doesn't seem easy to set your alarm for 3:30, 4 a.m., perhaps 4:30. But for me, it's been easier to allow myself to have the later nights, because that's what's seeming natural right now with this summer energy, but to still wake up before the sun rises to do my practice. And then I just go back to bed after my meditation. And when I wake up again is when I do things more like vigorous breath work and movement. So I don't stimulate myself. I'm just like praying and meditating and tuning. And when I wake up, I feel that attunement. I wake up the next time I wake up a couple of hours later in peace and gratefulness and clarity. And I don't feel underslept. So that's been working for me. If you want to, right, when I was going to sleep early and waking up early, that was awesome. That's just not what's happening right now. I'm living in a community house too. There's just like a lot of things happening later than I would normally go to bed, right? This is part of the harmony. I am still staying true to my commitments and finding what's harmonious right now. It's a mix of discipline but not force. Do you see that? Does everyone see that? So you get to find what's going to work for you and choose it and declare it and claim it and be committed to it and make it fun and do it out of love. Yes? Okay.